All TV shows are meticulously planned in advance, and Doctor Who is no exception. But sometimes, for a variety of reasons, things can end up in the shot that were never intended to be there. It could be a wayward crew member, a piece of equipment, or, as we'll get to later on, a rather unfortunate wardrobe malfunction. So with that in mind, I'm Ellie with Who Culture here with 10 times Doctor Who accidentally filmed things you weren't meant to see. Number 10. The mystery foot on Bad Wolf Bay. There are few moments more heartbreaking in all of Who history than the end of Doomsday, when Rose Tyler says goodbye to the 10th Doctor from across parallel universes. Oh. Just thinking about it makes me sad. After the Doctor's message cuts out and he totally leaves her hanging, Rose runs back to her mother Jackie and embraces her in a tender moment, all while Mickey and Pete watch on, presumably with no idea how to navigate all this emotion. But what you might not know is that there's someone else present in this scene. Behind the mother and daughter, to their right, is the truck that they all arrived in. Right at the end of the hugging shot, a person's foot can briefly be seen stepping out from behind the rear tyre, before quickly moving out of view again, presumably after realising what they'd done. Maybe they wanted to just run out and give Rose a hug. I mean, that's what everyone else watching wanted to do, so I wouldn't put it past them. Number 9. The Daleks camera. Rather than having the Doctor appear on the popular ITV quiz show, The Chase pitted the first Doctor and his companions against those pesky Daleks. Can't they just leave each other alone for 5 minutes? The serial gets its name from the fact that the Sons of Skaro are pursuing the TARDIS across time and space in order to exterminate its passengers. While they fail in that endeavour, they do pick up a rather unexpected bit of kit in the process. During a shot where a Dalek is giving a bunch of commands to its comrades, something can be seen hidden among the leaves of the jungle. Is it a new form of Dalek? Nope, it's just a mounted camera that someone didn't do a great job of hiding. The only saving grace here is that with the show still being in black and white, it does make the camera much harder to spot than if it was in colour. Maybe one of the Daleks was just vlogging, and we thought they couldn't get any more evil. Number 8. Pandorica Peekaboo. The first series of Doctor Who to feature Matt Smith as the lead certainly went out with a bang. A big bang, you could say. Oh, I'm sorry, that was bad. The final episode picks up where the Pandorica opens left off, with the Doctor trapped inside the cube-shaped prison by an alliance of his greatest enemies, and Amy Pond dead at the robotic gun hands of Rory. Rory frees the Time Lord via some truly wibbly-wobbly logic, and they place Amy inside the box to heal her. When she wakes up several thousand years later, we find out that something else got out of the Pandorica too. A mysterious floating thing. As Amy and her younger self are conversing inside a museum, the camera pulls out just a little too far, and on the right-hand side of the screen, what's likely a wayward crew member appears in shot for a split second before zipping out of view. Too late, my friend, we saw you. You have to feel sorry for this person as they were only out of position by a hair. But at the same time, they still made it into the episode, and for that they must be punished. I say, put them in the Pandorica. Number 7. The Face of Omega. 40 years before the Avengers pulled together the greatest heroes in its universe, Doctor Who did the same thing with the serial The Three Doctors, where William Hartnell, Patrick Troughton and Jon Pertwee combined forces to take on the renegade Time Lord Omega. As it turns out, the time-traversing trio needn't have worried too much about their enemy. He was just a random guy in a flimsy costume, as this moment illustrates. The thing about Omega is that he doesn't technically exist. His body is long gone, but his sheer willpower keeps his consciousness alive inside an elaborate suit. He even takes his helmet off to reveal that he has no head, which unfortunately clashes with what happens moments later. Stephen Thorne, the actor playing Omega, put so much wallop into his performance that he accidentally flipped his mask up briefly during a crazed monologue. Eagle-eyed viewers can spot Thorne's face beneath, completely contradicting the earlier headless reveal. Maybe he willed his head into existence for this moment, or maybe it was just a boo-boo. Number 6. Linda's secret member. What can be said about Love and Monsters that hasn't already been said? This Dr. Light story is notorious for so many reasons, and now here's another one to add to the list. When we first meet Victor Kennedy, aka the fearsome Absorbaloff, he breaks up a meeting of the London Investigation and Detective Agency, Linda for short, and says that he can help them find the Doctor. It's in this scene where we discover a secret member of the group hanging around in the back of the shot. During Kennedy's introduction, to the far left of the screen, screen, a woman can be seen standing in direct view of the camera, just chilling, without even trying to hide, which is pretty unusual. Clearly, this person got a little too complacent with their positioning, and nobody else on set seemed to notice either. Still, at least we can have some fun with an in-universe explanation for it. Is it a future incarnation of the Doctor who's gone back in time for a laugh? A random civilian who would later get sucked into the Absorbloff's armpit? Oh, the possibilities are endless. Number 5. A cold day in Vesuvius. For their first proper outing as time traveler and time travelee, the Doctor and Donna visit the day that Mount Vesuvius turned Pompeii into a giant museum exhibit. While hanging around the doomed city, our heroes discover a plot by the alien Pyrovile to use the volcano's energy to convert the entire planet into their new home. In a heartbreaking scene, the Doctor and Donna can stop this process, but only by causing Vesuvius to erupt. The Pyrovile's whole thing is that they're made of molten rock. They need to live in a warm environment, otherwise they'll die. So how they survive the freezing innards of Vesuvius is a total mystery. Confused? Well, as the Doctor and Donna are walking through the tunnels underneath the volcano, something curious happens. When they breathe out, you can see their breath, as if they're somewhere very cold. Parts of this episode were filmed in the UK towards the end of 2007, so David Tennant and Catherine Tate were presumably quite chilly in these scenes, which explains this amusing little detail. Number 4. That random dude hiding from the Cybermen. Attack of the Cybermen is all about what happens when there are Cybermen and they attack. Spoilers, nobody knows who truly wrote this story. The name on the credits, Paula Moore, is a pseudonym, and there are multiple accounts of who actually had the most input. Perhaps nobody wanted their name on it thanks to this glaring error from episode 2. During a scene where several Cybermen are interrogating Flast, who looks curiously like Swarman Azure from Flux, but that's a discussion for another day, the camera starts to track the characters as they take her away. Unfortunately, in the process, a crew member that was perfectly obscured by a column ends up being caught for all the world to see. It's unclear what the guy was doing. Perhaps he was another camera operator or was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. It's actually incredible that he was able to hide so well for so long before an errant camera movement left him exposed. Hopefully, the Cybermen didn't come back for him after they were finished with Flast. Number 3. The de Rossi's wine bar poster. After having her wedding day interrupted by a giant demon spider, Donna Noble got a proper shot at travelling with the Doctor when she met him again in Series 4's Partners in Crime. The self-proclaimed Best Tenpin Chiswick is doing her own investigating into the sinister adipose diet pills when she runs into the Doctor doing the exact same thing. They meet up in the adipose offices, although if you went by one particular bit of the set dressing, then you might have thought that they were actually in a wine bar. Donna is on the phone to her mum in the adipose toilets when Miss Foster and her guards walk in. On the left is a large blue sign that reads De Rossi's Wine Bar is dedicated to keeping these facilities clean at all times. Whoopsie. De Rossi's is the name of the establishment Sylvia visits later in the episode, so we assume that the crew filmed this toilet scene there too and just forgot about the sign. Or they weren't allowed to move it. Or maybe De Rossi's wanted to ensure that 9 million viewers knew who those lovely clean toilets belonged to. Number 2. Sally Sparrow and the Curious Civilians. Blink. The Doctor Light episode that helped us forget about Love and Monsters. After Sally Sparrow saves the day and gives the Doctor all the information he needs to help him in his future, the episode ends on a very spooky note. It implies that any statue could be an angel, meaning that humanity is constantly in danger, constantly being watched. The great irony of this is that just a few minutes earlier, someone genuinely was watching the Doctor and Sally. During the scene where the two characters talk, we get a wide shot of a section of the street. Behind them is a newsagent's, but it's what's above the shop that we're looking at here. Peering out of their windows like a couple of peeping toms are some people who are clearly very interested in the filming going on beneath them. We may never know their names, but they managed to get themselves into one of the most critically acclaimed episodes of Doctor Who ever made. Nice work! Number 1. An unfortunate crack in time. Season 17 ended with The Horns of Naimon, a serial in which the 4th Doctor did battle with a group of Minotaur-like aliens. In a twist on the myth, the Doctor and Romana end up as part of the sacrifices sent to the Naimon by a nearby planet. They are delivered by the ship's co-pilot, who goes by the name, well, co-pilot. No bonus points for the character names in this story, unfortunately. At the end of the serial's second part, the Naimons get very cross with the co-pilot for his mistakes. Rather than giving him a stern telling off, one of them kills him with a beam of energy generated by its horns. As if being killed by a giant space cow wasn't humiliating enough, this poor fella also dies with his bum hanging out. As the co-pilot falls to the floor floor, you can quite clearly see that he splits his trousers right down the crack as well. Poor lad. As a result, what's supposed to be a thrilling cliffhanger quickly turns into an Abbott and Costello sketch. Doctor Who, an endless source of accidental slapstick comedy. And that's everything for this list, but make sure you check out one of these two fantastic videos here. Some mistakes in Doctor Who were actually put there on purpose, and we've got a list all about that linked on screen. So go on, give it a watch. In the meantime, I've been Ellie with Who Culture, and in the words of River Song herself, goodbye, sweeties.